So, this is my first YouTube live, and I'm excited because there's a lot of things that I want to talk about. I started this channel probably December, and with the insight of trying to help entertainers. Now, I now live in Thailand, in Bangkok. And I thought, how can I keep in touch with all my friends? Because I have lots and lots of friends in the entertainment business. And not only that, I have vast experience because I've traveled all over the world singing, playing guitar in some kind of band, duo, or solo. And it's given me a huge knowledge base of entertainers, famous people, um, prodigs, and many different things like that. I want to talk about the reason why I started the showcase. Is that I thought that there's nobody telling stories from entertainers. Now, people want to know how you become an entertainer. People want to know what's it like being an entertainer. People want to know um, the ins and outs of an entertainer. Does it cost money? How do I become a singer? How do I become an actor? How do I become a comedian? All these things that people are inquisitive about. Now, as an entertainer, you have to buy all your equipment, you have to practice for hours, you have to travel to gigs. So you've got to have good gear, you've got to have a good vehicle, and then you've got to book agents, then you've got to get yourself established. And there's lots of different things involved in being an entertainer. And many people ask is, how can I do the clubs or pubs? And I always say, look, if you really want to do something, if you just want to be a singer, go to karaoke, sing at home, go to karaoke, get some experience of singing in front of people, because that's one of the hardest things to do, is to sing in front of people. Secondly is to remember that when you entertain, you don't want to be stood there like a spring chicken. You've got to have some kind of like rapport between yourself and the audience. And you've got to be confident with yourself to be able to handle hecklers. Some people will ask, can you sing far away? They're joking and having a laugh. Remember, people have a few beers and, they think that it gives them the brave confidence to be able to slag an artist off. I don't know, makes them feel good or whatever. But you've got to handle all that. You've got to handle the traveling. And a lot of my friends who are in tributes travel humongous distances to venues that basically, you're singing on stage for an hour or 2 hours, and then all of a sudden, you're traveling 5 or 6 hours to get to that venue for 2 hours, then you're traveling 5 or 6 hours back, and it's not easy. So there's a lot of things that really can put you off. And if you're just a local singer, you can only do so many venues before people get fed up with you. You've got to be a bit different. Now, this showcase is here because I wanted to build up a lot of videos from different people, different walks of life, comedians, singers, tributes, drummers, dancers, sound professionals, lighting experts. And I also want to go on to developing and delivering stories from entertainers that you can relate to, because I think people who tell stories are, really awesome. And I think basically telling a story is interesting. I'll give you an example. When I first started in the business, I was probably 16, just passed my driving test, and a friend of mine was called Mikey. He lived around the corner from me. He was a guitarist. I never stopped playing guitar. And we had a duo called Beaver Duo. What a name. I mean, going back all them years ago, we did the pubs and clubs and worked for Danny Stan and McLeod Alden, £14 a night. £14 now wouldn't even cover the petrol to the gigs. But then from Beaver Duo, it took me on to other things, to be honest with you. I really was enjoying it. Went on to another duo called Impulse with a guy called Greg. Never met Greg since, never known where he is or anything. It'd be nice to get in touch if you remember this, Greg. You see this video. We did the Isle of Man TT races. That was fantastic, that was. We was in a central hotel right in the centre of Douglas, right on the front of the beach, and Isle of Man TT races, all these rockers and bikers. It was pretty awesome. And we were singing crap like I'm a Chameleon to rockers and things like this. Yeah, we did a bit of core, but not a lot. And, some of the stuff we did, I thought, I was going to get away with it, but we did. The place was packed every night. It was fantastic. I remember Greg one day, we'd been in the sun all day on the beach, and he came on stage and he looked a bit black from the sun, and all of a sudden he started wobbling, playing his guitar, and then all of a sudden, thud. I think he got sunstroke, and the place was rammed. So the bouncers came and took him outside and sat him outside, and I carried on the show by myself. It was a bit difficult because I didn't know how to work a drum machine. So, and I was playing bass at the time, so I had to pick up the guitar, play the guitar, and sing some songs with the drum machine that I thought people would enjoy. People, you get away with it, your confidence in your cheek takes over. After Impulse, we came back, and then I met a girl, Karen King, who sadly took her own life a few years ago. We went to the Middle East, and we were doing 5-star hotels in the Middle East. Now, this was a test of your entertainership. That's a new word I've thought about. But you had to do 5 45-minute sets a night. Sometimes 4, but most was 5 45-minute sets a night. That's crazy. It's a lot of songs, and you soon learn a huge repertoire by having to do that, because during the day you're learning songs. Now, them days, there were no karaoke tracks that you could go pinch. You had to do your backing tracks yourself, and it made you become a better musician, I think, and that's where I got my experience from, is playing the guitar and keyboards and being a singer with Karen and a duet and things like that. It was very good. We did a long stints in the Middle East for quite some time and really enjoyed it. Then we did the Isle of Man ferries. Oh, that was rough. That was rough. Stood playing the keyboard like this, wobbling all over the place. That was funny. Also, after that, I think we went on to do. So we did the Isle of Man. We did the ships, and then we did the Clubland again. Went back to the working men's clubs, and we were doing cabaret. At the end of the day, cabaret was fine in them days. I don't think you get away much now doing pubs, cabaret. So I left Karen and moved on. I went back to being solo artist, and I was doing 10-day runs. Now, a 10-day run, for the artists that know about 10 days, is basically you work for an agent, and they give you 10 shows in 10 days. Now, one of the days you might do 2 gigs on a Sunday. So you might do Sunday afternoon and Sunday night. That's 2 gigs. So that means you had a Monday off, and you could go out and go out with other artists that was playing on that night. I always used to stay in the middle in the northeast, a place called Spennymoor. They was called Pro Digs. In fact, you'll hear Craig Anvil Leach talking about Pro Digs. There isn't any nowadays, because they've all finished. You either travel to your venue and come. There's no 10-day runs anymore, because pubs are just not open, clubs are not open for entertainment Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays nowadays. You're lucky if you get a Friday as well. So, times have changed, and after COVID, the business was dramatically different. So, things change. And then, I was solo for quite a long time. Used to go down to Wales, do 10-day runs. Used to go to Scotland and do 10-day runs back home. What happened then? I think basically I just carried on being solo until I met my wife. And then we formed a trio called Savage Onion. That was with Deb and her sister Cheryl. Yeah, we was a bit near the bone. If you've heard of the band Housequake, it was a bit like that, but obviously not as professional as what they was, because there was a lot of them. They could do more things. But we did some near the bone stuff. We was managed by Peter McLeod, and Peter asked us to use the name that he's wanted to give a band for a long time. So Savage Onion was born, and we started performing, and we did auditions for Peter for holiday parks and everything. But I think I was just a bit too near the bone to be able to get a holiday park, so I should have kept it a bit clean. But again, we went back to the Middle East and did the Savage Onion show in Dubai. And to be honest with you, the champagne was flowing every night. The Arabs would put champagne at the bottom of the stage, and another Arab wouldn't be outdone by putting one bottle on. Two bottles would go there, and the bar was making a lot of money. And it was quite good. We was able to take our daughter Alex to Dubai, and the hotel, put her up for nothing with us and everything. Gave her the food and everything. And we really enjoyed it. We came back and we did the Savage Onion, and then we worked for Tony French for doing the army bases. And he didn't like Savage Onion, so we called ourselves Smarty Pants. Smarty Pants. And I'll never forget this story. It was on the Autobahn in Germany. Like so many acts have been on the Autobahn, it was chucking it down the rain. Couldn't see in front of you. And then this Jagged, stopped. And I managed to put on my brakes and didn't hit him. But I saw this car coming up behind me, and he did not stop at all. He whacked into the back of my van, which pushed us into the Jaguar. I couldn't speak German. He was chucking it down. I had to get up the van. And I said to him, "It's not my fault." And he goes, "I know, non-faulten." And the guy at the back of me, his passenger was hanging out the window. His head had come through the window, and it was a right mess. We had bull bars on a big white transit that we had, because I was going to do an army base somewhere quite deep into Germany. And believe it or not, we couldn't get the back doors open. We had to get an army truck to be able to pull the doors open so we could get the gear out. And then when we did the gig next day, the army truck had to force the van back closed again. And then we travelled back to England, and under insurance, we got all that sorted out. So, there's a lot of things to say. I remember also around that same time, Alan Barton from Smokey had a severe accident. Smokey had a severe accident in their van on the Autobahn, and he sadly died as well. I mean, they drive like crazy in Germany or in Europe. I don't think, there is restrictions, but not like there is in the United Kingdom. So basically, I'm doing this live show, which nobody's logged onto. I did give a lot of notice, but basically, I wanted to ask you your opinion. What would you like to see on the show? Would you want to see more stories? Do you want to see more comedians? Do you want to hear how people became successful? I've had Hermits on. I've had the Bootleg Beatles. I've had actors, Jonathan Lindley, who played alongside Johnny Depp in Pirates of the Caribbean. It's difficult to get some people on here because obviously actors want paying for the stories and what they do. So I thank the people who's already been on here, and I do hope it continues. There's been a lot of tributes, and now I'm just getting into AI music because that's becoming quite popular. It's very easy to do, and I've made a few short clips because it's entertainment, is AI, about baby dancing and robot dancing and things like this. It's good fun, it's all entertainment. And remember, the people that come on my show are basically giving their time to entertain you. So I do hope it continues, and I do hope people continue to watch the show and share it and like it, because I need some watch hours for those people who have not shared it or not watched the full video. It's very important that you do that. I've just done an amazing podcast with Jamie Moore, who was an outstanding musician with the group Badness, and sadly his wife passed away. And I've done a podcast about the downfall of COVID, so that'll be released soon. So I'd like you all to comment if you can, please. Don't just watch a couple of seconds. Watch it all the way through. Leave some comments, because the comments are important. I want to do these shows for you, so please let me know. Keep watching the showcase. Let's do another one live. I've realised that Sunday afternoon is busy for artists, so I've probably done this at the wrong time, but it's a good practice for me. So keep up the good work. Good luck with all the entertainers. Keep doing what you're doing. Having fun and enjoying it, and keep watching the showcase. Thank you very much.